Hey, this is Justin. I kind of want to make a video about the use of ChatGPT in the academic space. I've been thinking about this because I use ChatGPT for personal use or business use, but I think when it comes to academics, there is there's a fine line between, it's using you to help, and I don't know if I would I don't know what I would term it, like cheating, plagiarism, or not properly. I mean, maybe it's not cheating, but you might not be properly attributing the source for your information. And if you were to attribute the source for your information, it might not be accepted. So, um, the first place I want to start off is um, looking at the sharing and publication policy of OpenAI. So they have I'm here in their sharing publication policy. Well, this is last updated in November 2022, so I don't know if this has been superseded or not, but this is still on their website. Um, and it says content co-authored with OpenAI API policy. Creators who wish to publish their first-party written content, a book, or a compendium of short stories created with the OpenAI API are permitted to do so under the following conditions. The published content is attributed to your name or company. So I guess I would say, author is Justin. The role of AI in formulating the content is clearly disclosed so in a way that no reader could possibly miss this, and that a typical reader would find sufficiently easy to understand. Okay, so I think it's somewhere in your published writing you'd have to disclose, hey, I'm using an AI in the writing of this content. And so I've seen articles about I think that whoever published a publication in Nature or other scholarly publications, journal publications, they attribute ChatGPT, and my understanding is that the editors have banned ChatGPT from being an author. So, um, so they're saying like you can't use ChatGPT to write your papers or to co-write your papers, essentially. Um, so at that point, that academic space is essentially limiting. You cannot use ChatGPT in your formulation of your published works. And so for instance, one must detail in a foreword or introduction or someplace similar the relative roles of drafting, editing, etc. People should not represent API generated content as being wholly generated by a human or wholly generated by an AI, and it is a human who must take ultimate responsibility for the content being published. Okay, so they say some stock language here. Um, the author generated this text in part with with GPT-3, OpenAI's large-scale language generation model. Upon generating draft language, the author reviewed, edited, and revised their language to their own liking and takes ultimate responsibility for the content of this publication. That seems pretty fair. I think that's pretty good. I think so. I think like where areas where you might run into issues is like, let's say um, for I guess for, like in my case, I've never actually had like a attributions page, and so I've always wondered when I read a book, they always, they what do they say? Like just like dedicated to a dedications page or dedicated to my wife, dedicated to my loving mother or father. I don't know if that's the same thing as saying attributions, for like is this an attribution or a thanks? I don't really know. I guess this is just you would write this at the beginning of your paper saying the author generated this text in part, you know, doesn't yeah. So I don't know. I think maybe for academic settings this might be kind of problematic just to say because it kind of opens up a can of worms because this is not very clear on how much of the text. Maybe it just says in part. Is that a majority or a minority? So I guess maybe academics in the future might say, or professors or teachers might say, it has to be wholly your work. And I think maybe this will be this will bring back. When I was in school, um, we did our essays by hand, and so maybe this will bring back the pencil and paper essay writing. Because I think a lot of stuff is done on the computer nowadays. I'm not totally sure on. Well, it depends on what field of study someone might be in. Okay, so there is now. Okay, a week ago this was this is February 21st. So a week ago this was put out. Um, this is general facts and questions. Okay, can I use output from ChatGPT for commercial uses? You own the output you create with ChatGPT, including the right to reprint, sell, and merchandise, regardless of whether output was generated through free or paid plan. I guess I don't know. This goes to Dolly. It's kind of weird. What about the terms? Okay. Okay, so well, I don't know what's up with this, but I don't see that this actually references this sharing a publication policy. So I don't know how these two are linked, but I'm just gonna think that since they're both on the same terms and conditions, that they kind of both apply. Anyways, I was just kind of thinking about this. So let's say I wanted to write a paper on George Washington. So biographical research outline about the life of George Washington and his role as the first President of the United States of America. So, I mean, it's just like an example like this. Even if you don't ask it to do actual like draft writing of like paragraphs, for let's say this is an academic essay, like if you ask it to write an outline, I wonder if this would, if even this is too much, that like this is, if I just ask this to this AI model, I'm not interacting with maybe the primary or secondary sources. And so that might, I could see how an academic might argue that's part of the research or learning process. So, maybe even using this is too far. So I would like to see how teachers or professors kind of address just the use of AI in general. Now, I have a plugin here. It's called WebGPT. And so if I just turn this on, I can get web access. Let's say I want 10 results and 10 search results. So let's say I want to do this again. Be more detailed and create a new outline. Now with the sources I'm providing from the web, quote, in text citations, provide scholarly sources where possible. Yeah, let's just see what happens. Okay, so now it's gonna. Oh, it looks like the prompt I hear it was not good. So let me see. Let's see if I do this again, and then. So let's see if create with sources I'm providing from the web. Okay, so we're gonna ask the same prompt that we did at first, and then we're going to use results from the web. So here we go. So now it's doing all this. So like I just said, like it's going to give us like research citations. So let's say I was writing a high school uh, academic paper, for AP US history or something. Is this kind of like, is this kind of like paying someone to just write your essay? Um, yeah. So I mean, you get the point. This can go on, right? But I'm just kind of asking the question. I think the future is going to be AI is used. I just don't know um, how academics will address how it's used, especially because I don't think it's like I don't think this is at a point yet where you can just quote, like you could say, I got my information from ChatGPT. It's like teachers say you can't get your information from Wikipedia, and I think ChatGPT is trained on Wikipedia. So we don't even know where it gets its sources from. So like if I didn't have this plugin, we don't really know where all of this information comes from. So either way, it's problematic. There's no sources in the just native version of this. And so now that I have sources here, oh boy, now that I have sources here, I just wonder at what part in the learning process or in the creation process is it too much?